It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. So, Mikal, welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Jamillah Lodge, and you are the CEO of Better Digital. So, before we get started about your entrepreneurial journey, why you decided to start Better Digital, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, it's always an interesting question. I have been the underachiever for my entire life. I'm the guy who would get straight B's and then get into the AP class and flunk intentionally so I can work less but still pass. What I realized later on in life is I've always looked for the most efficient route to get to where I'm trying to go. Don't work any harder, don't work any less, but I feel like I only recently started to channel that in a good way. AI and software and systems and stuff that lets you be rewarded for efficiency.
Got you.
In a world that doesn't always, I kind of was lost for a long time.
That's interesting. So it could be that you just always were entrepreneurial. So some things you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, so I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah, and the worst place for that type of brain is working under somebody that just wants you to do what you're told.
Yes.
So, i.e., became an entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It was destined to be. So, Mikal Minors, Better Digital. When did you start Better Digital?
Better Digital goes on its 4th year this year. Previously, it was Bermuda Better group of companies, and then it evolved as things do. But this is our 4th official year.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that. That's a big deal. Yes. So what was your aha moment when you said, okay, it's time for me to stop playing around and make it official?
All the credit goes to my business partner, probably the smartest woman I know in life. She watched me go from 3 different startups trying to build somebody else's vision, and she sat me down and was like, you are putting so much effort trying to convince people that you're right, that don't see themselves as big as you see them, and you are doing nothing for yourself. So if you really are so confident, go prove it and do your own thing. And we never look back.
I love that. So it took someone to say, hey, you know, why don't you do this for yourself?
Yeah. It's never you that sees it. It's always somebody close to you.
Yeah, so. But the fact that you were willing to take that risk, I think, is a big deal.
Thank you.
Because that's what entrepreneurship is about taking the risk, right? Yeah. But they say without risk, there's no reward. Absolutely. So, you know, being the CEO of Better Digital, now you have the ability to kind of chart your own course. Yeah. So when we talk about that, charting a course, what does Better Digital offer? What are some of the products and services that you offer?
The elevator pitch we give is that we let business owners focus on what they're great at, and then we cover the entire digital aspect of their business. So your branding, your website, your social media platforms, AI chatbots and support, all the way up to automation, and we're taking your operations and we're starting to put that in the cloud. So we do the smart nerdy stuff, so you can do the smart business stuff.
Okay, I like it. So what about Better Digital is different from any other business in this space?
The word I like is intimacy. A lot of times when you have these type of tech issues, you are a number on a sheet, and somebody who doesn't really know what they're talking about is reading something off a list. If you come to Better Digital, 9 times out of 10, we have a conversation. I sit down with you. I go through conversations with your staff. I go through conversations with your management team. And because it's so intimate, I can craft a package that suits you. Like, there's so many times when somebody goes and they don't need 90% of a solution. I can give you just that 10%. It's that easy because we have the flexibility.
Right.
Absolutely.
So the key is the flexibility,
Absolutely.
right? Because every business is different. Yeah. Their needs are different. But can you talk about if it's just a general startup business, what you would recommend that they start with? Like the package that will get you where you need to be.
The easiest thing, most people don't need us. Like, my favorite thing is telling somebody they don't have to spend money with us.
Why is that your favorite thing? Sorry.
Like, my ideal world is one where everybody is just set up. Everybody is optimized. Like, slight deviation. I started this business because I didn't like how unoptimal things are. Like, there's no reasons that websites should have zero utility. Somebody told me their website was basically the doormat that you see on your way in. That's all it's there for. So I would love a world where people have their website set up. You have basic contact information, basic information about your services, a way for somebody to book a meeting with a sales associate. These are the simple things that I would say start with without us. And when you come to us, I would say let's do a basic digital optimization assessment. That looks like, how do you exist on the internet? How do people see you? What things aren't you doing optimally? What things can we automate? How can we make your life easier with the things you already spend money on that do nothing but sit there? That's where I would say start.
Okay. All right. I like it. Look, I'm sure people will be surprised. They're like, what do he mean he don't want them to spend money? Like, what do you mean? Aren't you supposed to be out there trying to get people to spend money with you?
Ideally, but there's so much trust that's built in somebody walking away and not having to open their wallet. Like, if you come to me and I say you don't need it, then when I tell you, you really do.
You believe you.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to just take advantage.
Right.
It's all about giving back more than you take.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So now let's talk about AI,
Okay.
right? Because AI is like taking over. Everybody needs it. Why does everybody need it?
It's the same as when the internet came out and people were talking about websites. It is the first time that we can communicate with machines to produce software. So no longer do you have to write a piece of code to do data analysis. You don't have to write a piece of code to have a chatbot. You can just say what you want and it does it. On the customer side, that feels so good. I don't have to wait on hold. I don't have to wait in line. It can do every part of the customer experience journey immediately at 3 o'clock in the morning on Christmas. Like, everybody wants that. So that's the big deal right now.
So how did you become an expert? I'll say it, right? He's
rule
like,
is,
okay,
I never say it, but if somebody else does, I'll accept it. But it's funny. It's failure. Failure has been my best teacher. The principle of compounding failure with having a skill set you learn, going on to do something challenging after that, as long as it's peripheral to it and they have a little bit of symbiosis, you end up at a place where I was doing branding and web design and all these things. Crypto comes up and it's this awesome stuff. I guess I can learn a little software. Crypto didn't do as well as we thought, so I sat back and I had software, branding, websites, administrative understanding. AI comes out and I have all the tools. And it's because I failed in all these areas that now I was perfectly positioned to spend 3 to 4 months just focused on AI. Then, we had a client that was happy enough to let us try it out, and it went perfect, and we never looked back.
Okay. So failure, because some people, when they think about failure, they're like, stay away, avoid at all costs. But sometimes failure is your biggest teacher, right?
Always your biggest teacher.
Yeah, because you learn what not to do.
Yeah, and you have to make sure not to be over-leveraged when you fail.
Right.
Don't risk the house, just,
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Good advice. Don't risk the house.
Yes.
Calculated failures, I guess.
Yes.
So can you share with us, if you can, a scenario where you worked with a business and implemented some of your solutions and it just went wonderfully well?
I won't say their name, but we have a superstar client I talk about a lot. They had 2 issues. They are very successful, which is a great problem, but that meant that every place where they're marketing, they're getting messages. So somebody has to be on the Facebook, the Instagram, the website, the email, and some things just get missed. That we were able to fix that with an AI chatbot that understands their entire sales process and customer support process, put that on their website, their Facebook, their Instagram, and now everywhere they're always on time whenever you need them, and it's always professional. Because AI doesn't care if you have an attitude. So, but then on the internal side, it was when you have a big team and you have a lot of people coming in and out, you have to, one hire is 2 people being less efficient because somebody needs to train that person. With AI, you can take that new hire, give them all the information from your company, and they can be taking sales calls on day 2 because they have it right in front of them. So those were the 2 big things. They still use it. I love them so much. I think this is our 2.5 year right now. So love them to life.
Okay, all right. And so for those who may be considering, doing something around AI and leveraging that understanding to make their businesses better, what would you say would be the first step for them?
Follow-up question.
Okay.
Would they be a business that's doing well or a business that's trying to get to doing well?
Let's do both scenarios.
If you're trying to get to doing well, I would say look at using AI as sort of task-based hiring. So role-based hiring is I need somebody to be in this position and be present. Task-based hiring is I only really need my invoices to be automatically put into something. That's a simple way where you can save money, get the task done, be efficient, and use AI to your benefit. Once you get to we're doing great and we just need some support, now we look at, okay, what is the entire workflow of this operation? How can we take that entire operation and make it automatic? That's where AI is huge, because communication between parties, updating spreadsheets, updating company profiles, can all be done with AI. And that's hours per paid employee who might be cost you $20, $30 an hour for cents.
So,
Talk to me.
talking about employees and teams, now that we have AI, right, we can get rid of everybody, right? You can do this all by yourself, right?
If I had a specific 1% type of business, maybe. But
Okay.
99% of people need people more than ever.
Right.
Like validation, making sure the AI is correct. When I want to talk to a person, if I can't talk to a person, I'm going somewhere else. At the end of the day, we are still people. But I would say if your entire business is collecting books and putting them on a shelf and they're writing in a spreadsheet, you don't really need somebody else now.
Right. So talk to me about your team.
I love them so much. I am blessed with a business partner who, I won't name her because she's very shy. I do all the camera stuff. She is in school. Basically, I can't remember the exact thing because it's a very specific type of education. She is focused on teaching. I also have a production team, Inspire BDA. They are so awesome, and they believe in what we're doing, which is the only reason we can even afford them. So right now, I'm looking for maybe 2 or 3 more people, maybe a publicist, somebody, maybe a tech intern, but the 4 of us right now are a powerhouse, and it's awesome.
Okay.
Like,
speak to me about the importance of having a team.
oh my God. Even aside from work itself, you will not always be on 100%. There are days when you will not believe in yourself, and there are days when you will fail so badly that you want to just close the doors. So one, having people that believe in you more than you do keeps the doors on, keeps the doors open and the lights on. It also means that if I ever fall short, there's somebody there to catch me. And I would not still be here if they didn't catch me at least a couple times these last few months. Like, it gets really, really tough, and support means the world.
Yeah. So talk about the tough days. Like, what are some of the things as an entrepreneur along your journey that you have had to self-talk, rely on your team to kind of get you through? Like, what are the things?
The realest thing that could happen to me did happen to me very recently. My biggest support of my entire life has been my grandmother. Everything I've done now is right there. When I started doing the business really seriously, she basically said, you can quit your job, focus on this, I believe in you. Then my nana gets sick. And so it was the process of, I can't really provide like I want to and take care of you in this moment because I don't have any money. So I would always check in, do you think it's time yet? And I'd be like, no, I think you should focus. But she didn't get better. And over time, the way that story played out was she ended up having a complication with a procedure, and they let us know it was the last bit of her life. We needed to spend the time with her. In that period of time, it happened fast, like a week. I landed $10,000 in contracts. I started getting more speaking engagements. All these big payoff moments were happening as I am losing my biggest supporter.
Yeah.
And that in itself was enough to break me for a minute. But then you come back and your team is still there, and it's like, listen, don't worry about work. There's certain stuff that you need to do. I'm got you. There's certain projects that we have on. We'll just put it off. And that softness and that reassurance, one, gave me permission to take the space I needed, but two, helped me get back into it at my own pace. And hugely grateful for all of them for that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry
Thank you.
to hear that. But I think, your grandmother encouraging you, that was the first step, right? And saying, no, you have to pursue this, because sometimes, especially in Bermuda where everything's so expensive, you're like, I have to have a full-time job.
Seriously.
Right? Just to be able to eat.
Oh, man.
But having that support to kind of like propel you and push you forward and say, no, you need to focus on this. I think it is the initial push that you needed, right? And now here you are speaking to me about your expertise.
Big up, Nana. Yes.
Big up, Nana. So yes, in terms of the growth of the business, you're 4 years in now. What would you say is the biggest challenge in ensuring that it continues to grow?
What you don't know what you don't know, and you won't know until you're in a position where it's too late to. A lot of the contracts that we go after are for companies that we don't fit the risk profile. So AI is not cheap. Software is not cheap. Companies that can afford it are insurance, financial institutions. But if anything goes wrong, they need to recoup on the losses of whatever fails. You are not recouping $1 million from me. Like, I'm not doing that well. So recognizing that, having to recognize small businesses probably don't want to pay $3,000 to set up an AI. And then figuring out where it is exactly that we fit. The thing that's kind of helping that is business relationships that I get into are more personal than they should be sometimes. But it gives a lot of grace as far as if I do something for your business, we sit and we have many conversations. We talk about peripheral businesses and goals that you have. So I end up by osmosis getting a lot of next steps that I should take. If we're setting up something between you and business X, I should probably talk to business X. They probably have similar issues that you have. That, and then I'm still hoping on that government contract. I'm telling you. One thing that I would say to anybody trying to do this, before you can do a contract with the government, you have to be on an approved vendors list. There is a form that you have to fill out and submit. I wish that I knew that before I was 1.5 years into this process, but you don't know what you don't know till it's too late.
Right.
Those have been my big hurdles, but we move.
Yeah, and you overcome, right?
Absolutely.
Now you know, and now you're paying it forward and sharing it with others who might consider working with the government, and it will come.
Thank you.
It is going to come. We're putting it out there.
Absolutely.
Putting it out there. Because, like you said, the trust that you're building with your existing clientele, and word of mouth actually works in Bermuda still. And so I think that as you continue to work with businesses and your name gets out there and the feedback that you're doing a great job gets out there, it will definitely come. So I've had the privilege of meeting you as a guest speaker at different events. I've moderated a panel you've been on at the Osaka AGM, as well as you participated in Disrupt HR at the International Tech Summit, and then most recently at our Small Business Expo, you were on a panel there. So tell me about the difference between doing that part and actually running Better Digital.
Well, first and foremost, the event was fantastic, so thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I will say the benefit of my job is that I can do a lot of it in my PJs. I can't do this part of my PJs, so it's dressing up and getting there. I've been doing this for 3 years on the public speaking side now, and I am nervous every time.
Really?
I have this running conversation with my business partner where everyone is my last one. I'm never doing it again. And then we get an email and it's like, so you know you're doing it, right?
Right.
But overall, I would say it's underrated because it feels like it's just for show. There's no tangible ROI on doing a presentation or a podcast, but it's Bermuda. People talk. People, like I said, trust is such a big factor. A lot of the times it'll be like, hey, I heard you talk about the community. What can you do for our business? And then vice versa. So people should really emphasize how much time they spend in the public and being seen and being a person. Be human.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Even though you can't necessarily track the ROI on those engagements, but it is a way of marketing Better Digital, marketing yourself, like you said, and then word of mouth does actually work in Bermuda. So when people see, it's like, oh, I know a guy who knows about AI and can come in and make sure that we're doing what we need to do in terms of our digital solutions and all of that. So I definitely think there's a benefit
Absolutely.
And the fact that you keep being asked means that you're doing
pretty
something
all right.
right.
Yeah.
You're doing something right, or people can relate, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean, to you and what you're saying.
It's
So
a blessing.
it is a blessing. So if you could, I don't know, what would you want Better Digital to grow into?
I can't say too much. I'm
Oh,
lying.
got plans.
I make all the decisions. Like I said, right. I have big goals. The thing I've said my entire life is that I want to build a legacy that outlives my grandchildren's grandchildren. Right now, once we've established our base in Bermuda, the goal is to expand out to the UK and then set up a base in New York. That gives us kind of a triangle. Bermuda's known for those. Once we can do that, I want Bermuda to be less of international business only and more synergy between international and local business. Local business should be international business. And once we have an alignment of the incentives between those who have money and power in Bermuda and those who have to live here, now we'll see more things like social initiatives that give back to youth, opportunities created that aren't sports and aren't specifically academic, but may align with the interest of 30% of the population. I always want everything I do to make Bermuda a better place for my little brother and sister.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, big goals, but small, core.
Right. And I think it's important. And I think when you lead with that, then the buy-in that you get from others comes easy, right? Because who doesn't want to see their home, prosper?
Absolutely.
And you want to be able to pay it forward. So speaking about paying it forward, I mean, we want to be known as like a tech hub, with fintech. And like you say, you mentioned crypto. We were like all on that bandwagon, and it may not have, taken off like we had hoped. But what do you envision for Bermuda? Like how do you think you can contribute to creating opportunities for the next generation?
The sad answer is that it's not up to me. Like I tell everybody at every presentation, I am a hose that is to be pointed by those that have power to dictate what I do. What I would love, if I had all the money in the world and I could just do whatever I want. Bermuda is primed to be less a getaway, more a second home. There is a lot of digital nomads that they were trying to do some importation with. I don't know how that went. I don't keep up on politics as much as I should. But what would make a really nice home would be environments where young people can spend time and be productive outside of an alcohol environment. More things that we can do socially that bring us together without substances. Everything kind of comes back to just less substances, let's chill. So what I would like to see on the tech side, we're falling behind really quickly. We have agentic systems now, which are an AI that can create and delegate tasks to other AI that can go out and do whatever you want in the world. Bermuda, schools are starting to implement it, yes. Bermuda historically has not done well with keeping up to date on technology. So you go to America on vacation and feel like a sci-fi movie. What we really need, and I don't put much emphasis on education. I have a GED, but the next generation is going to have to be super well equipped. It's non-negotiable at this point. On the other side, leisure, people living life. There are so many things like Pronto's doing really great with what they're doing with automating and systematizing, being able to get deliveries dropped off to you. There are so many places in government where you're still filling out a form and sending it to somebody or taking it in person. You might have to go and manually do a process and then wait for weeks because somebody has to do a manual process that takes... All of these things could be instant, and they are everywhere else. So if there's one contribution I can make, it would be better equipping Bermuda at the highest and lowest level with the basic stuff we already have access to.
Yes, please.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, please, and thank you.
Yes.
I mean, you're absolutely right. When you travel and you're like, what do you mean I can just order the thing with my phone?
Tap it with my watch.
That I don't have to physically walk into an office and drop something off.
So much better.
Yes. So, yes, if you can help, then for sure. Who do I need to introduce you to make that?
We'll talk after this. We'll talk right now.
I think it's extremely important. I think you're absolutely right. I think our young people, certainly my daughter, learns differently than I learned when I was in school. The tools that she has access to, even like even doing her work, her homework, like they do this whole new box method of math. I don't know what she's talking about, but ChatGPT knows.
Hey,
Okay,
there you go.
and I talk to it, and I'm like, please explain to her how to do this because I can't do it. So we're all using these tools, right? So we work with small businesses at BEDC, and I've had, several conversations, and some who are, let's say, in the services field. So they do construction or something like that. And they're like, AI, why would I even consider using AI?
Good question.
What would you tell them?
I would ask, how big do you see yourself being? If you just want to be that guy that does construction, that's fine. You can be that. If you want to compete with people that you have no right competing with and win, that's what you use AI for. There's a system right now, computer vision, basically giving a camera access to write and program stuff. The way that it plays out, though, is if you are doing inventory management, you have a certain amount of supplies for a certain amount of jobs. That means that you have to have somebody to track that, keep on top of it, order new stuff, communicate with those people. All that can be automated. You can have a camera that watches how much supplies you have left. As soon as you run low, it automatically sends off the next order. That gets approved. It does all the communication with that vendor. And you just know that you always have supplies. So now you have a little bit more money to put into the quality of your product as opposed to the delivery of the product. And you just do so much better than people give credit for. It's that little bit of extra help.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and I think that's what everyone can stand to benefit from.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think people who are in those kind of manual type services, they're like, well, why do I need to change my procedures? And I think about your customer on the other end, right? If they're used to, being able to tap, like you said, with their phone and utilizing services, you want to make sure that you have in your kind of wheelhouse different types of solutions or tools that they can use that'll make their lives easier.
Yeah. Also, it's signaling too, because there are people that will do business with you even if they have to place their orders by email.
Yes.
Because they support you. But what it does psychologically when they see, hey, thank you for your support. We've made this huge investment in how we do business. I want to support you even more now because one, my dollars matter, and that's a tangible feedback that I can feel. But two, you take me seriously. So you're not just using me to get rich. You are actively investing in my experience. That is such a big thing.
That's a good point, That's a great point.
Thank you.
So lastly, if there's someone who's interested in working with Better Digital, what is the best way they should get in touch with you?
If you are on LinkedIn, I am a human, Mikal Minors. On LinkedIn, I will talk to you. If you prefer a more streamlined way of doing it, our website has all of our booking links available. You can set a consultation. It's free. If you aren't quite sure, but you kind of want to, we also have a free assessment on our website. You fill out a form. It gives us basically a snapshot of what your business experience and needs are. But it also is connected to an AI, so instantly you'll get a report back of different things that you could do right now without us. So again, I love to tell people you don't need us, but if you get past that and then you want extra help, you'll have the form, you'll have my email, and we'll have a meeting booked.
Okay. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mikal, for minding your business with us today.
Yes.
I really do enjoy speaking with you and listening to you. You mentioned that you have a GED, but you're so learned, especially in this space. For those who may have a similar kind of approach to education as you did when you were younger, you're like, I'm bored with that. I don't want to do that. For me, where you are today and how much you know, there's huge opportunity out there because I don't think education is as straightforward like it used to be when I was growing up. You got to do this, you got to do. No, there's so much knowledge out there, really at your fingertips, right? And so to me, you're living proof of that. And it seems like you found your passion.
Thank you.
And you're helping other people get to where they need to be in terms of their business. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And remember, if you don't mind your business, who will?
This is it.
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC, Bermuda business starts here.